So this is the handover for the Boxstar Lifetime 600. We'll begin at the front of the vehicle with your fuel filler cap. Ignition key into the cap and remove. There is a hanging hook on the bottom of the door if required. And then below that you have your AdBlue system. With the AdBlue you'll get an indicator light likely come onto the dashboard indicating when it needs to be topped up. Further down the body of the van you have your exhaust vent for your blown air heating and water heating system on gas. And on the window above the flume inside the van there is a pressure switch. So if the window is opened it prevents the water heater from being used on gas. It will shut the system off. Adjacent to that is your cassette locker door. It's a magnetic latch in the back of the door to keep the door up and open. Pull up on the blue handle and slide the body of the cassette out towards you nice and firmly. In an appropriate location, remove the blue cap, tip the cassette up and press your blue button in to allow the waste to drain out, and then use granules or liquids for the digesting chemicals along with some water and slide the cassette back in so that it firmly locks back into position. Below the skirt you have your wastewater outlet. So turn the handle through 90 degrees and it allows the content of the grey water to drain off and then back into the horizontal position to close that waste outlet. External mains hookup at the back, connect to the side of the van first of all and then to your sight post. To the left hand side of the brake lights you've got your reversing camera. Underneath the back you've got your spare wheel. Your vehicle toolkit is loose in the garage. When you move around to the off side of the vehicle you have your freshwater filler cap. So put the key in and then turn the cap to release and then use your water supply to fill up. Further along below the sliding door you have your step, and the step controls are accessed from just inside the door to extend the step out or retract back in. So when you open the back doors you've got your gas locker access. These are fitted with crash sensors, so when you first turn the gas supply on you will need to press down on the black button to reset the gas supply coming through, and that will then feed up into the rest of the unit via some isolator taps which are located elsewhere in the van. So at the back of the garage space you have your two leisure batteries behind a security panel. On the opposite side you have your access panel which takes you to the green drain valve for the fresh water tank, so open that for winter storage or for contamination and cleaning. So when you open up underneath the bed you've got the access to your mains, battery charger, fuse boxes and other ancillary equipment. It's important when you're using the main supply that you start with everything switched off, so make sure that all the switches are over to the left hand side in this position. Connect up to the external supply and to the side of the van and do a circuit breaker test to make sure that you have the continuity of supply coming in. When you move across it'll allow the battery charger to kick in. You may hear a faint buzz and you'll see a green indicator light coming on telling you that it's operational. And then you have a bank of 12-volt fuses for the interior operation of things like the water pumps, igniters, interior lights and such like. When you open up the passenger door, your bonnet release is located at the end of the dashboard, and just below the passenger floor you have the access point for your engine battery. Below the passenger seat, behind the clip, you have the access for the vehicle toolkit which contains a jack and wheel brace. When you first open up the bonnet, over on the left hand side you have your access for your screen washer fluid, and then adjacent to that your radiator, brake fluid and power steering fluid reservoirs. Centrally located your oil filler cap, and then just in front of that the dipstick. Over on the right hand side of the engine bay and secreted behind a little paddle cap you have the access point for jump starting the vehicle. So the positive attaches onto the paddle and the negative attaches onto the bolt should you require to jump start the vehicle, it saves you having to expose the engine battery from under the passenger floor. When you first come in, up above the sliding door, you have your control panel for accessing the interior operation of the vehicle. Because we're currently plugged into the main supply, you will see this symbol highlighted here. Press on to the top right hand switch and it will turn on your 12-volt supply, and you can monitor the condition of your leisure battery, vehicle battery and freshwater levels from there. This light will illuminate when the wastewater tank requires to be emptied. Separate switch for your water pump. Switch off when the vehicle is not in use. And then below that you have your interior light switches for all of your 12-volt lights inside the van. Underneath the forward-facing seat you have your Truma Combi water heater. On the floor is the drain point for draining it down. So it's thermostatically operated. The blue tap in the back of shot will turn through 90 degrees if the air temperature inside that tank goes below about 2 degrees centigrade. To reset it, it'll need to be turned back into the position it is currently, and on the body of that black casing there's a small blue switch which will need to be depressed back in to allow the water tank to be refilled. So you have the option of using a water filter. The water filter can be inserted into this point here, and you can isolate both ends for installing that unit if it's required. You've got individual isolator taps for the gas appliances. So here we have the ones for the room heating system and for the cooker. You have a 12-volt compressor fridge from Dometic. Press and hold in on the central silver button until the display comes on. It will show you across the scale what performance the fridge is running at, but it is adaptable. By using the dial and pressing in on it, you can choose different mode settings. So go into user mode and you can use it onto performance mode, which you would first choose when you were starting up the fridge, quiet mode for overnight use, and then a boost mode for differences or changes in temperature. Go all the way down to the return button and it will take you back into those settings, and you can then choose the different modes. For going into the setting option, it will give you options of turning off the button controls each time the sensors are setting up, as well as putting it into a lock mode to prevent little fingers from tampering with the settings, all the way through to a return arrow, and it will take you back to the performance screen at the front. For setting up the water heater, you need to make sure that there's sufficient water within the system. So with the water pump switched on, turn your hot tap on first of all in the kitchen to ensure you have that continuity of supply coming through and the tank is filled, and then repeat with the vanity unit with the shower vanity unit tap as well. The water heater control panel is located above the sliding door. It has an iNet capability as well, which means you can upload it onto an app and control it from your mobile phone. For the room heating settings, select the first symbol that's shown and increase the temperature by rotating the dial. You'll see a flame symbol come on, indicating that the unit is running. If the symbol at the top is also flashing, then it suggests that the room is still reaching that temperature. Once it becomes a solid state flame, then it will have reached the setting required. It's a similar story with the water heating. Move on to the second symbol and you have a choice of running it in an eco mode, which keeps the water around about 40 degrees, a hot mode which will take the water up to around about 60. Periodically you can boost it if it's required. For choice of power supply, you can have it either in an electric mode, which is a low performance one if you were perhaps on a weaker mains site, and then the option of increasing it to a higher performance electric mains operating mode. If you are wild camping, then you would use it in the gas. If resources are available, or if you needed to boost the system perhaps in colder weather, then you can use a combination of the low wattage and gas, or the high wattage and gas, to increase the performance of the unit. With the heating switched off on both the water and the room settings, you can just use the circulation fan on its own. So go over to the fan symbol, select the fan, select vent, and then you can increase and just use it as a recirculatory fan within the unit. And turn off. By using the clock and setting up the clock, you can then put it into a timer mode, and if you just want to have the water heating or the room heating coming on at certain times of the day, then you can use it within that function. Press and hold on the central button to switch it to app and then ultimately to the off mode. With the gas turned on in the back, fire up your burners. On a bright sunny day, it can be difficult to see these flames, so be very, very careful that you don't fold the lids down when they are still running, because they won't cut out. They will continue to burn and they will cause the glass lids to explode. There are light controls within the kitchen area that will turn on the dining, high level kitchen lights and seating lights. Located within the locker, you also have your mood lighting or colour lighting systems as well, which enable you to turn it on and set it to a variety of different colour settings if required. So it's a swivel bowl toilet in the bathroom. Lift up your seat, pull the lever, push the lever I should say, away from you to open up the main wastegate. The flush water supply comes from your main onboard freshwater tank. And then there's an indicator on the left-hand side of the bowl which will show you how full the tank is. So there's a pull cord which is located next to the toilet, which controls the airflow in and around the cassette. So if you're using the toilet in colder weather climates, it allows blown air heating to go into that airspace. So when you first get into the vehicle at the front, your cab controls to start the vehicle, make sure your foot is on the brake clutch pedal and turn the ignition over. And the vehicle is in the park mode. It's indicated on the stalk as well as up on the display. Your head-up display will also illuminate in front of you as well. Pull the lever down for reverse, neutral and drive modes. If you want to drive it as a sequential box, move the lever over and then pull the lever towards you or push it away to change the gear speeds. When the vehicle is engaged in reverse, you should see an image appear on the central screen. Otherwise, it'll be in the mode that you've selected, which includes the satellite navigation system. Ventilation controls are on the lower display with your temperature and speed settings, a directional control for inside or outside ventilation, and then directional controls for the direction of the fans. Heated electric mirrors, central locking, hazard light switch, and an ability to disable your ASR. Stalk controls include, on the top left hand side, your lights and indicators as well as main beam, and then your cruise control and speed limiter. Over on the right hand side you have the controls for your wiper, including the screen wash. And then behind you have headlamp beam adjustment, rear fog lights, and the ability to disable the automatic stop-start facility if you wish. Over on the driver's door, you've got your electric mirror and electric window and central locking functions. Cab lines, when you are using the cab lines, you will have to manually fold down the screen so that the blinds will clear and join together on the magnetic strip. Make sure that they're stowed away, and it's a similar story with the side blinds. Again, there's a magnetic strip on the edge of the frame for them to connect to. So that concludes the handover for this Lifetime Street model. I sincerely hope that you're going to enjoy the van, and the van's going to give you lots of miles and lots of smiles. But if you do need us, please pick up the phone or send us an email. On behalf of Behind the Camper Vans, thank you very much.